We did it. We're live. Hi,
Hey,
everybody. Wow, we're at Spring IO.
we are beautiful Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough life. Tough job. Wait, can they see? Are they not?
I mean, they can see
Yeah,
the
like,
auto show that's also
oh,
happening at the same.
wait, let me show this. So, can you see that? Wait, not my ugly face. That, how can I? You can't really see it. There's a thing blocking it. Whatever. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway, there's
Yeah.
a,
There's beautiful architecture.
yeah,
Yeah.
city of Gaudi and things like that, right? So anyway, we're in Spring IO, Barcelona.
Yep.
This is not an official like VMware show or anything. It's just this wonderful show that sprung up.
Put by one guy, Sergey.
Sergey, yeah, just does an amazing job.
Don't know how he does it.
I think some of the people that would have otherwise been in this live stream with us in the chat are probably here in the show watching talks.
Yeah.
That's
That's okay.
it's the
That's
nature of the community.
Oh.
By the way, those of you watching on Twitter, we'll try and monitor the Twitter, but like we said, we don't see those questions until later. So if you want to sound off or contribute or whatever, join us on YouTube, right? YouTube is fine. So good. Anyway, we're live. I'm live with Billy Korando, who is Java developer advocate or Oracle.
Yes, but don't hold that against me.
No, Java is like hot sauce, right? I mean, this conference is Java plus season.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's amazing. So we're obviously there's a lot of excitement. You saw in the keynote this morning.
Yeah.
We're going all in, right? Java 21 will be a long-term supported version.
Yeah.
Very soon, for both the Java community and Spring. Java 17 is the baseline, of course, but Java 21 will be a huge thing.
Yeah, it's really grown.
So I was wondering, what are some of the like big things that we should be aware of? Obviously, there's
virtual threads.
Threads. Yeah. So what do you call it? Virtual threads or Loom? What are we supposed to be saying in these days?
Loom is the overall project that is covering all the changes that are coming with changing how threading is working within synchronization, all that stuff is working within Java. So yeah. And then virtual threads is just a part of that. And what they are just lightweight threads that are kind of exist in memory. And so when you're using a thread and like you're making a call to like a service or database or something like that, it's going to be, there's like only a little bit of processing happening. And then you're going to be waiting even just a few milliseconds for time for that to come back. And that's just taking up system resources because that thread is doing nothing.
Right.
So what virtual threads does is that this JVM can detect that and then park that virtual thread, just detach it from the actual platform thread and put that in park, and it can allow it to do other processing while it's waiting for a response back. And it does it all at the JVM level. You don't have to be aware of it or anything like that.
So things like input stream and output stream, which we would have called blocking before, they still have that characteristic, which is that the code is not going to continue after that point, but it doesn't matter because the thing that's so painful about sitting there and waiting is that you're losing also time on that thread, that operating system thread. That's no longer happening.
Yeah, exactly. And threads operating threads are relatively expensive. They have their own stack. There's only so many threads that operating systems can support. It's still like in the thousands, but that can start to make a difference when you're having, a large application, web application, or just any kind of application that's communicating with a lot of different clients at the same time. So you can start to become thread bound. Now virtual threads is seeking to where you no longer be thread bound because you could have millions of potential concurrent virtual threads. And
so is this mechanism is there some sort of thing that's just keeping a timer on threads and just saying, hey, there's a timer there, this is taking too long, there's probably something we can put in the background? Or are there signals built into these relevant APIs like input stream and output stream that say, hey, JVM, we're going to do a thing that's going to take some time, but go ahead and park the thing?
So like that level of internalness, I'm not quite familiar with. I'm sure there is something within that it can tell when it's not actually it's just waiting on a response back from whatever, either the file system or some external system.
Right.
So when it comes to that, I am not quite sure how that internal is working, but also from the perspective of a Java developer, generally you shouldn't have to worry about that. The JVM is just going to kind of handle that. Just kind of like you don't care about how it's going to find where to put memory for, like when you're storing an object, you don't care. So in that way you should generally not have to worry too much.
I only ask because I wonder if there's some, and I can't even think of a use case, so maybe I'm just I don't know, is there some thing that a person that wants to take advantage of this non-blocking nature would need to know about to be able to take advantage of it outside of the well understood confines of input streams and things like that? Or is it just, I don't know, whatever?
No, for most Java developers, that shouldn't need to be the case. Now, for library developers like Spring, or someone like the maintainers of like Tomcat or Jetty, they might actually have some thoughts, concerns, or maybe not concerns, but some interest in kind of figuring that stuff out. But for 99% of the Java developers out there, it should just work seamlessly.
I love it.
That's the way how it works. Yeah.
And so I know. So don't tell me anything I should know, but I saw that virtual threads proper, the new executor service, basically.
Yeah.
That's for sure targeted for Java 21,
Yes.
which is coming in at any minute or month now.
Yeah.
What about September, which is very soon. That's
very
a good
soon.
month.
Yes.
Right after summer. After you come back from vacation, then you can go
further. The European vacation. Yeah. Once everyone from Europe comes back from vacation, JDK will be just about ready.
Piping hot cup of Java. Okay, so that's September.
Yeah.
What about the programming? I know there's
so there's two other major parts, like a major initial trifecta for Project Loom.
Right.
The other part is where you're probably going to is structured concurrency,
right,
which is the ability to break up a process into concurrent threads and then kind of have it a more understanding programming of how that is, or a more coherent way of being able to easily break apart processes into multiple threads. So like, let's say you are going to be calling like 3 or 4 services. Like a good example my colleague Jose puts together is like he is doing like a fake travel service, and like I am going to check with like all these different travel services, like for hotel prices, and I want to get at least 3 or 4 back. But once I get 3 or 4 back, even if I'm calling 5 or 6 or something, go ahead and display, or maybe get the first 4, maybe wait a second and then come back. But like with structured concurrency, you have an easy way of programmatically defining that to say like, okay, call all these out, and then also ways of defining it to where if you get an exception, just ignore it, or if you get multiple exceptions, okay, maybe at that point we have to like drop out. But yeah, that's what structured concurrency does.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the other part
is
there is scoped value.
Right, that's true.
And so with
not thread locals, but kinda.
Yeah, so the issue now is we were talking about before with threads, like with system threads, you can have like a few thousand. And if you have thread local storing stuff and maybe copying values across it at a few thousand, maybe if it's a large enough object, you would have to care. But most of the time, objects are only a few bytes, maybe a couple kilobytes, so you probably don't really care too much. If you have millions of virtual threads, all of a sudden that starts to really add up. So what scope value does is allow you to share values across all your virtual threads. It's only immutable though, because obviously if you have a bunch of thread local, a bunch of things trying to write to it across millions, you can't do that. So scope values allow you to share data super fast across all these virtual threads, and then you only have that one copy of it. So that way, if you have a large string or something, or a file or something like that you're accessing, it can just share it across all those, and you're not going to have to copy that thousands of times or millions of times across thread local.
Nice. Okay, very good. See, this is the kind of stuff that again the Java team is thinking about this stuff so that we don't have to. Okay, all of this really cool. So do we know, like, blink twice if you think the any of those last 2 things might land in Java 21?
No, they're definitely not going to be final features in 21, but they will. So I believe they're going to both be in preview mode. I know structured concurrency, I'm quite sure, got updated or upgraded to preview from incubator, and I think that might have happened with scope values. So while they won't be final, now just one thing to keep in mind though, just because it's in preview, what that doesn't mean is that it's not production ready. It's that it's saying that this API might change in the future. So like we're just saying, like, you have to do enable preview and all that stuff just so you kind of know that the API might change. But we're still very confident that it's going to be a minimum of bugs. Say we're not any less confident in these other preview features than we are in virtual threads. This virtual threads, the API, we're saying it's not
It's
going to
frozen.
change. It's frozen.
Known quantity.
Known quantity, and we would only be adding to it. We're not going to be, you know, changing the name of something or taking something away, or at least not without, you know, a
Years
farther
of like
yeah,
education and all
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay, good. So this is okay. So we talked about, I mean, the virtual threads, Loom.
Loom, yeah, that's
Hooray! I cannot wait. That is actually, but there's a lot of stuff, right?
Yes,
In
so
Java.
much.
So let's talk about the because I've had, I actually had Jose on the show a minute ago.
Yeah, he probably explained Loom a lot better than I did.
No, just we got more. Given more time, I'm sure you
Yeah.
could do the same thing, but we walked through it in depth. So I wanted to talk about some of the other stuff. Can we talk
Yeah.
about what else is happening in Java and what will come in Java 21?
Sure. So two other big language features that are getting finalized in 21 is record patterns, which is a really nice way of quickly extracting or deconstructing a record. So instead of like having to call each individual like a member or the getter for, or not the getter, but the accessor for the record to get a value, you can just reference that component value and to get that value out of there. So when you're using that in a switch, really would be probably the most common.
Wait, you can destructure a record in a
Yeah.
switch?
Yes, yeah, with switch, and that's the other one I'll get to in just a
Is that a
moment.
preview feature, or is that going to land?
That's going to land. That's going to fully land. And
So full deconstruction of records in a
Yeah.
switch in Java 21.
yes, Yes.
Was there even a preview feature for that?
yeah. So no, actually there was. So that
There's
was
smart switches for like.
there's
I can-
pattern. Yeah, so there's pattern matching for switch. That's what allows you to do records, deconstruction of records in a switch.
Wait, so are you saying I can like have a record as a variable? I say switch on foo, which is an instance variable of a record.
Mhm.
How do I get access to the constituent components? Is there a way to like create
So
variables?
like you would have like your switch case and it'd be like foo, and then you would say like what's values you want to get out of foo. Like you have foo f, and then like you would say which values you want to get out of it then. So yeah.
So I can then just do equality tests and things like that on the individual.
Yep.
So is the destructuring, does that happen before the matching? So like
No, it would happen in the case label.
Oh, in
so
the
in
case
the case label, that's where you would kind of get all the values out of it. So that way, if like you have like shape being
Yeah.
passed into the switch, and you have like square, rectangle, circle, and all
Oh.
that stuff, you would have circle, C.
so I can match on the type of the record as well, not just
Yep.
the individual
Mhm.
fields.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to say shape, but I wanted to extract out the subfields, I could do that.
Yeah.
The components
Uh-huh.
of the record. But also if I wanted to say I want a square, I don't
Mhm.
care about the subrecords, the components. I just want it to be a square of some
Yeah.
sort. I can match on that and
Yep.
get. And is the instance that I work with, do I get like a downcast smart pointer thing that lets me say I'm dealing with a square? Or do I have to like?
Yes.
Say,
Yeah. Because that's part of then I think for the instance matching. But what's also then nice.
So that's GA in 21.
Yeah,
like
that's
I can
GA. Yep.
no preview.
Yep. No preview.
Like,
And
I
then
haven't even I slept on that.
I know. I've been really looking forward to it because we had 4 rounds of preview on that. And one last little thing I want to talk about that is that, what was it? I think 16 when we added sealed classes, which
Yeah.
you can remember. You know, kind of interesting, but it's like okay,
Library
a little bit,
stuff.
little bit of library stuff, and sometimes hard to see to be used for it.
Right.
But now with pattern matching for switch, it can read that hierarchy. So like again, to use a shape example, so let's say we've defined circle, square, and triangle
Right.
in our sealed hierarchy. Now with that switch pattern, we wouldn't have to add a default case to it.
Oh, because it's exhaustive.
It's exhaustive.
Oh, that's landing in GA 21 as well.
Yeah, that's part of switch patterns. So our pattern matching for switch to be the most appropriate.
That is
so
like
21 is huge. Yeah.
Huge. That stuff alone is interesting. I would have
Mhm.
like I love Kotlin, but we don't have any of that in
Yeah.
Kotlin, right? That's more like Scala,
Yeah.
That's a thing from the Scala language that they have.
Yeah.
I knew this stuff was coming. but I just didn't realize it was already here. I thought we'd start getting previews.
I know.
kind of
I
after
know.
this, 'cause
It's
I've been focused on Loom so much.
yeah. So I'm doing a presentation here on JDK 21.
Spring IO in Barcelona. You
Yes.
still have time, although I think it's sold out.
But I realized like I've been needing. I'm completely reworking my presentation just because 21 is becoming so big that like I'm like, okay, I have now proper enough to talk about, because for a while it's a little bit difficult because some of these are going in
Hypotheticals.
well, not hypotheticals, or they're getting so usually it's 2 rounds of preview
Right.
for a feature, but I think switch pattern or pattern matching for switch had 4, and I think record patterns had 3. or maybe it's just also 2, but like I knew these things were coming for such a long time and really want to talk about them. I could kind of just preview it, but now I can actually properly talk about it. And so I'm having completely redo my presentation because like I can really sink my teeth in and talk about it because yeah, it's going to be really nice. It's really quite amazing just how much is coming in 21.
And you can't beat the price.
It's free. I know.
Freaking free. I love it. By the way, quick tangent.
Yes.
If I appreciate you sharing, but where else can people see you? Are you out there doing YouTube channel or something?
YouTube channel. So yeah, you can find me on the official Java YouTube channel. So just YouTube/Java. So actually, I recently started a new video series there. I call Stack Walker, and pretty much it kind of goes into all the stuff in the JVM. I just actually released a new video called on JFR, which is another fantastic piece of technology. But just
is that new? Is there like a playlist I should be looking at?
It's the most recent video right now. Or there you go. Or I don't know if we actually have a Stack Walker playlist.
Why not?
Right now, but
is it just part of
a recent video. Sorry, extra sounds on there. But yeah, definitely check it out. Definitely check it out just because JFR is an amazing piece of technology.
What is that? You're talking about the Java Fillet recorder, right?
Yes.
What's new and novel? What should people be knowing?
So actually, to the point of free, actually, it's now called JDK Flight Recorder. Back in JDK 11, we open sourced it and gave it to the community, and that means that you no longer need to use a commercial, or you no longer need to have a commercial license to use it in production.
Right.
Was the case before, and JDK 10 and on before.
I see. I remember that. Yeah, I remember thinking, because they even made a very strong push. They said, as of right now, for for this 1 second, the commercial version of Java and the open source are exactly the same.
Yeah.
They basically donated everything.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they might have since improved and added new things to the proprietary thing, which is fine. I want them to make money, obviously. But at one point, they took these things that had hitherto been proprietary, expensive. Well, not expensive. They cost money.
Yeah.
They amazing. That was like a level set, because that was after years of Java 8, and then Java 9 arrives, and we were already at 11 by that point.
Yeah, but
now we're at Java 21. That's almost 10
I know. It's amazing how time flies all of a sudden with those versions. But yeah, no, definitely check out JFR. I think it's something that not enough Java developers really know about and appreciate. It's a very great piece of technology for debugging, performance tuning, stuff like that. It's far too much to go into for just now.
Right.
But it's definitely worth it. So yeah,
my friend.
Absolutely.
Are you on the Twitters? Do you want to be found? Are you on Mastodon?
Yes. Yeah. Just Twitter right now. You can find me at Billy Korando. So yeah, I guess you'll toss that into the comments. But
yep, I'll do that right now. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. No, thanks for inviting me onto your live stream.
Well, I mean, it's fun, but people might be able to hear it. The sessions are breaking already; they're done, so people are starting to stream out. And so, rather than risk the ire of a lot of people, we're going to call it a good one.
Sounds good, man.
Thanks, my friend.
Talk to you later.
See you later, everybody.